When you think about Minecraft, one of the first things you might think about are the numerous mobs that can be found in the game. Some of them are visually iconic and can be recognized by people that don't even play Minecraft. But there's an army of mobs out there that couldn't quite make it into the game for one reason or another. Mobs that made it far enough into planning that they actually had visual designs and proposed behaviors. Today I'll be showing you the mobs that were created by Mojang but were never officially put into the game. I'll also explain why each mob failed to make it in. To qualify for today's list, a mob had to make it far enough into development to have an actual appearance in official Minecraft artwork or media. Some of these mobs had amazing concepts, which is why longtime Minecraft players have been confused as to why they were never added. Since there's a lot of these mobs, we have a lot to talk about today, so let's get started. The sea monster was a mob designed by Mojang to make the oceans more dangerous. The creature had a long tongue-like tentacle and sharp jaws. Its overall appearance was similar to squids, but a nightmare version of them. According to Minecraft's lead developer Jeb, the mob would have used its tentacle to pull players underwater from the surface in order to drown them, even pulling them out of boats, and it would propel itself forward using its jaws. The monster was part of the now infamous 2017 mob vote, where players were able to choose which new mob they wanted in the game for the next update. The content in the update was kept secret until after the voting had finished and a winner had been selected. The Flying Phantom mob ended up winning the vote. Immediately following its announcement, it was revealed that the next update was going to be a major overhaul of Minecraft's oceans, completely changing the look and feel of them. Had players known that the update was going to include ocean content, I'm convinced the sea monster would have received more votes. Think about how cool it would have been to fight this monster with a trident. After the vote was over, the sea monster was shelved and hasn't been spoken about since. A sad fate for what could have been an amazing enemy to encounter. Mojang designed the Hovering Inferno to be a more powerful version of the Blaze mob in the Nether. The design included blazing shields that would protect it from attacks. Had it been included in the game, it would have been the first mob to be able to use shields of any kind. It's assumed that axes would have been able to disable its defenses, similar to how axes disable regular shields in the game. The Master Blaze would have likely been added as a mini-boss instead of a fully fledged boss fight. A random encounter in the Nether, it would have been able to use a shockwave attack. While the Master Blaze never made it into the game, Mojang has stated that they plan to allow mobs to spawn with shields in future updates in the game, meaning the Inferno's intended shield functionality has been given to regular mobs instead. Like the sea monster, because it lost the vote, the mob hasn't been spoken of since. Since Mojang's next major update is going to be the Nether update, could we finally see the Hovering Inferno in some capacity? Fingers crossed, I'm always down for more enemies to fight. The Great Hunger was a reptilian-based mob designed with a huge mouth. Had it been added, it would have been the first lizard mob in Minecraft. Unless you consider dragons to be lizards. I don't know, are they lizards? I mean, I guess they are, but that's not what this video is about. With its mouth open, the Great Hunger would sink into the ground and camouflage itself. If enchanted items were to be thrown into its mouth, it was designed to be able to remove those enchantments. While this mob lost the vote and was never added, the enchantment ripping functionality it would have had was moved to the grindstone item that was later released in the Village and Pillage update. So while the mob never made it into the game, its ability did. But still, think about how much money Mojang could have made by making a plushie of this bad boy. Missed opportunity if you ask me. In 2018, Mojang held another vote for the community. This time, instead of just a mob, it was a biome vote that allowed the player base to vote for a biome to be updated in the next version of Minecraft. Ostriches were a proposed mob for the savanna biomes. Much like their real-world counterparts, they would be large bird mobs that were able to bury their heads in the ground. In my opinion, if we could have added saddles to ostriches Donkey Kong style, they would have been the best mob in the game, hands down. The taiga biome ended up winning the vote, so the ostriches were never added. It's also notable that termites would have come along with ostriches, but these likely would have been an animated texture on blocks, not an actual three-dimensional mob. But I just thought I'd mention them since they'd still be creatures in the Minecraft world. There's no telling whether ostriches are going to make it into the final version or not. There's still no word on if they're actually coming to the game. Meerkats were also included in the biome vote for 2018. They would be found in desert biomes and would have the ability to stand on their hind legs like their real-world counterparts. If their size and their artwork was to scale, they would have been a little over 1 block tall while standing up straight. Their behavior was never elaborated on, but it's assumed that they would hide if they felt threatened. After losing the biome vote, meerkats were put back on the shelf and are awaiting their time to shine. Are you starting to see a pattern here? Mojang comes out with all these great ideas and then never uses them. Well, if it's making you upset, it only gets worse from here, so buckle up. Just a few months ago, for 2019, Mojang held another biome vote, where players decided which biome and therefore which mob would be added to the game next. Frogs would have come along with a swamp update. Based on what we know, they would have been passive mobs that would hop throughout the swamps and eat invisible flies with their tongues. It's a safe bet to assume that lily pads would have had some sort of connection with this mob, since they are so abundant in swamps as it is. Frogs would likely hop towards the player if they were close enough. Frogs in the swamp ended up losing to goats on top of mountains. Who knows what uses frogs could have had, if any. The Vulture was a mob intended to be included with updated deserts. It would have been a flying mob that would perch on top of cacti in the desert. One unique feature it was planned to have was the ability to loot the corpses of dead players, picking up their items and then flying around with them. If a different player wandered into that biome at a later time, even if the original items despawned, vultures would retain items that they picked up. A very cool novelty that was sadly never realized due to deserts losing the vote. Vultures would have made an eerie addition to deserts, and it's sad to see such a novelty put back on the shelf. Unlike every other mob in this video so far, the Illusioner is one of the few mobs on the list that actually has code in the game. The mob has been in the Java Edition's code for about 2.5 years, and can even be spawned into the game using commands, although the mob is not quite finished. It was designed to be a powerful illager that uses a combination of archery and magic to defeat opponents. It can cast the blindness effect on a player, making them unable to see, and can also turn itself invisible while creating copies of itself to confuse the player. The mob definitely gives off a mini-boss vibe when fighting it. It's unknown why this mob has been unused for over 2.5 years so far. Despite it being unused, it has continued to be updated periodically, and has even been hinted at becoming a part of village raids in a future update. So out of all the mobs listed in today's video so far, the Illusioner has the highest chance of actually making it into the vanilla game. I decided that for the last part of the video, I'd mention the mobs that have been discussed by Mojang employees as being a possibility, but never actually made it to the visual planning phase. The most famous of these mobs is the Red Dragon, which was originally supposed to be released alongside the Ender Dragon in the 1.0 release of the game back in November of 2011. But it was delayed to the point where Minecraft developer Dinnerbone stated that they had no plans for it, and we never even got a visual. Though the community has recreated the idea in several mods and resource packs throughout the years, the Red Dragons have been considered a never-ever as far as mobs are concerned. Going back an entire decade, the creator of Minecraft, Notch, joked about adding hamsters to the game while the game was still in the alpha development phase. It was clearly a joke, but hamsters did gain a small cult following in 2010, so I thought I'd at least mention it. Otters, seals, and orcas have been hinted at on Twitter in the past, but at this point, there's nothing concrete about them. Now, at this point, I just don't understand it. Mojang had all these great ideas. Why abandon them? These mobs could have added so much immersion to the Minecraft world. Mojang held all these votes, and I understand wanting to make the community part of the game, but why shelf the content that didn't receive as many votes? Why not give it to us anyway? Just give all of it to us. I understand that the developers of Minecraft want to keep the game simplistic, but at the same time, Minecraft is the best-selling video game of all time, even beating Tetris. Couldn't they hire an extra dude to make frogs? Whatever. This was intended to be a history video, not a rant video. So if you enjoyed the video today, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Also make sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram to stay updated on when new content is coming out. Thank you so much for watching my video today. Take it easy, Fit Fam, and we'll see you next time.